You know, I watched a lot of your stuff for this, and it's a different vibe, Tucker. Yeah. I mean, look, if we had been in more contact before you did the Putin interview, I would have told you, you got to check some boxes with this guy. I get why you're going to say, I'm not going to get there and get into a fight with a guy who may not let me out of the country.
Yeah. No. I was never afraid. I was afraid of the U.S. government, not of Putin at all.
Of them doing what?
Arresting me when I got back for a sanctions violation. That's what my lawyers told me. If you go talk to Putin, and if you don't ask him tough questions, the Biden administration very easily arrests you. There's a big law firm told me that, a big law firm, one of the biggest law firms.
But how bullshit is that?
I thought it was, and I was like, I don't care. I'm an American citizen. I'm going anyway.
I don't disagree that sitting across from Putin and getting into a shouting match or whatever is going to bear much fruit for people. I understand that. And I get that it's a commodity in the media, but I get that it may not be the highest good.
Well, it's also just vanity. It's vanity.
There is an aspect of it. But you made choices. Like, you didn't ask him about Navalny. You said, well, all killers, all leaders kill. But don't you feel that if you are going to go and sit with someone like that, you have to hold them to account for things that matter? Like
I did.
The fact that he may have murdered somebody or a lot of people?
Well, I don't. I mean, the Ukrainians say that he didn't kill Navalny, so I think it's.
Well, who killed him then? Guy looks good one minute, and the next minute he's dead?
I mean, in some larger sense, the Russian government...
And what Ukrainians say they don't? Zelensky says he killed him.
No, he doesn't. No, the Ukrainian government said, no, he died of natural causes. Now, what is actually going on there? I can't even guess, okay? Navalny died in the middle of the Munich Security Conference, also in the middle of the debate over Ukraine funding in the United States, and his death was within hours used by the President of the United States to justify another $60 billion. So... those are just facts. I haven't the faintest idea. Putin put him in prison, okay? So there's that. So in some sense,
poisoned him.
He's responsible. Look, here's what I learned, and I'm hardly a Russia expert, is this is an extremely complicated political environment, extremely, like next level, okay? These are the people who dominate world chess. And so their politics are incomprehensible to me. So what's actually happening, and I mean, I've been in a lot of countries and covered a lot of stuff abroad. And the one thing I've learned is you actually don't really know what's going on. And so I had a bunch of Navalny questions to answer your question in my 4,700 questions that I'd written out. And I decided on the fly not to ask it because I felt like, what about Navalny? Well, whatever he's going to say, I'm not going to move the ball at all. There's a war going on that is resetting the world. I'm not for throwing your political opponents in prison. I hate it. I'm mad that the Biden administration is now doing it. I'm worried about it happening to me. I mean, honestly, I want to get that on the record. So, so I'm not for that in any sense. I don't choose to live in Russia. I'm not a Putin supporter. But there's a war going on, and it's crushing the United States economy. And most Americans don't understand that. And I want to talk about that. And so I made that decision.
It's crushing the economy. It's not crushing the war economy, though. A lot of that money winds up coming back
small number
to
of
the uniparty, the corporations
rich. No,
that do that.
I totally agree, but
they always find a way to win.
Kicking Russia out of SWIFT, stealing people's stuff, the oligarch stuff, a lot of people had nothing to do with the invasion of Ukraine. That's not the rules-based order, actually. That's the hardest-edged possible politics being played by the U.S. government using the U.S. dollar and the sanctions regimes to do it. What is the message to the rest of the world? Get the hell away from the United States. These people, if they elect somebody who's senile like Biden or someone who doesn't like us, they will use the dollar and sanctions to destroy us. Get away. It's not a safe haven anymore. And so that fact will change world history, change the course of American history. We're going to live with that for the rest of our lives. Our grandchildren will live with it. I don't think Americans understand that, and I want them to. And I want to hear what Putin's thinking is. And I don't know if I achieved that or not, but that was definitely. But what I didn't want to do is try to convince other journalists, for whom I have no regard at all, for the most part, that I'm a good person. I don't care what they think of me. They call me a Nazi all the time, which I'm not. So, like, their views are totally immaterial. I just want to focus on what I want to focus on, and if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know, that's kind of my view.
The first blush of it was Carlson doesn't get to interview Putin. That I absolutely disagreed with, and in fact, as much as it pained me, I defended that proposition that of course, Tucker Carlson, if you can book Putin, he can interview Putin. That's how it works in our business. If you can get him, you can do the interview. Why Putin chooses Tucker Carlson and what Tucker does with the interview, we'll judge when he does it.
So I was abroad, not kind of obsessively following the coverage of myself. I don't have a Google alert.
They didn't want you to do it because they thought that you would be a stooge for Putin. And then you showed up in Moscow.
They won't even be here in 5 years. None of
I
these
know,
people, John Carl,
but you
and
made
all
it
these
easy.
people, they'll all be gone.
But you make it easy for them. You show up in Moscow, you say, this is the best place I've ever been in my life. This city is better than anywhere in America.
It is.
Get out of here. On what basis?
It's so much better on the basis that I described.
There are people making like no money. That's why the prices are cheap.
Yeah. Well, actually, look, I'm no expert on the Russian economy. I can only tell you what I saw, which is a city of 13 million people, much larger than any city we have. Hard to govern a city like that. And there is, no homelessness, no graffiti. It's spotlessly clean. The public spaces are beautiful. Look, Moscow, I'm not moving to Moscow. I'm an American. I'm never leaving. But Moscow is not so different from the cities of the United States in my youth. We had a free society, much freer than we have today. We had much more capitalism, free markets, fewer monopolies.
But you're not saying Moscow was a free society.
I'm saying the United States was a free society.
Okay.
The country that I grew up in had a semi-functioning capitalist system with competition. It wasn't all like 4 companies dominating everything, which is what we have now. That's not capitalism, okay? That's a monopoly economy, which is bad. And you had freedom of speech. I guess there are probably some limits, but I wasn't aware of what they were because they were so broad. And you had safe, for the most part, clean cities. And that's exactly what Moscow is. This does not make me love Putin. It makes me despise our leaders. And so I try to make this point. I don't think it's super subtle or esoteric or complex, but they're like, oh, tool of Putin. No. You are flacking for the indefensible. That's what's actually happening here.
So for you, it's not Putin's better, Russia's better. It's that it gave you perspective on what you think has changed in America for the worse.
Of course. I look at everything.
It's not how it came across.
I'm sure, and I'm sure it was at least in part due to my inability to explain it fully, which has been a problem all my life. It's incumbent on me to explain things. That's my job. And I don't always succeed. So I'm willing to believe that. But it's also a product of intentional distortion of what I'm saying. And which is, this is an indictment of our leadership class, which deserves to be indicted and imprisoned, in my opinion. So all my views are through an American lens. I've got a big family. I'm not leaving. My family's been here for hundreds of years. I'm not going anywhere. I'm the most American person you've ever met. Don't have another passport, unlike a lot of other people. And so I'm stuck here by choice and circumstance, and I want my country to be as great as it can possibly be. And that's why I opposed the Ukraine war from day one. This is not going to help us, period. And they're like, oh, tool of Putin. It's like, no, tool of America. That's what I want to be.
What about the argument that they make that if you allow Russia to exercise reach, it'll keep doing it?
I would say, show me the evidence. The
started in Crimea. Now they're taking at least half of it.
They had a referendum in Crimea where they asked the overwhelmingly, like 90% Russian population of Crimea, do you want to be part of Ukraine after the coup of 2014, or do you want to be part of Russia? And they said Russia. So that's the democratic process, I would say there.
Right, but you don't change sovereignty over what the popular vote is. Like, you know,
well, it depends how committed to democracy you are. Democracy is the promise of self-government.
But if where we are right now decided it wanted to be its own state, they don't get to just go.
No, because
right? You have a constitution, you have larger ideals involved.
Sure, but as a matter of principle and practice, if you're committed to democracy, you should let people choose how they seek to be governed. What I care about is the country that I live in. We imperil our own national security on behalf of other countries. That's why we're in NATO. We have a security guarantee with Macedonia? What? I didn't sign up for that. That's not in the Constitution. I want my kids to die for Macedonia? No.
But their rationale is an extension of collective strength. I don't have any problem with you owning any of these opinions that you do.
Well,
I can have my own. I can have my own opinion about the level of sufficiency of your reasoning. But
I think you'd find it unimpeachable.
It's that. Oh, it's definitely not unimpeachable. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.